do a little bit of Pilates this morning. This is more clinical style, so it's great for, it's nice and slow, it's great for beginners, it's great for anyone who's got concerns about back problems or technique or just want to take it a little bit slower. So we are going to do just some exercises on the floor. We're going to focus on how our body is positioned, what we can feel, how we're moving. So we're really going to take our time and work with the breath. So nice, easy, gentle session. Doesn't mean you won't feel it. Hopefully you'll still feel something, but we are really slowing it down. So we're going to start on our backs. Now the core lifts up through your body. So regardless of your body position, if you're upright, it's lifting up. If you're on the floor, it's pulling long, but it's lifting up through your body. So as we engage the core, it kind of tightens everything in and up. And it's from your pelvic floor, through your abdominals, and actually up behind your chest. So as you lift up, you kind of draw your pelvic floor off the floor and into your body. You lift up behind your belly button, behind your rib cage. You kind of pulls your rib cage down but lifts your chest. And it actually lengthens you up through the back of the body. So we're not compressed, but equally we're not pushing forward. We're drawing up through the body. And I want you to just think about it being very gentle. So it's not a pulling in of your stomach, it's not 100%, it really is quite gentle. So if we just took a nice deep breath in and deep breath out. Just find your breathing rhythm. And then as you breathe out, imagine just drawing up with the pelvic floor. Feel a little pull down low in the abdomen. Feel that little pull behind your belly button. Keeping your ribcage down, just feel maybe you're lifting your heart very slightly. And as you breathe in, just let that just fade away. So breath in. And when you breathe out, lift up through your core. So I'm not going to tell you when to breathe when we do the exercises. Well, I'll tell you when to breathe in the exercise, but I want you to focus on not doing it exactly in time with me. So if I'm saying we're going to breathe in and then we're going to breathe out, we're going to do this, I want you to do it like that, but I want you to do it so that it's in your breath timing. Because we all breathe at a very slightly different rate. So if I'm on the floor and I'm saying to you, we're going to breathe in to prepare, and as you exhale, as you breathe out, you're going to lift your pelvic floor and pull up through your body. And you're going to draw that all the way up. And then when you're ready, you're going to breathe in and let it go. If you felt you had to breathe in before me, then that's what you do. You find your own rhythm, but you put the exercise to your breath. So the first bit, we breathe in to prepare, we don't do anything. When we breathe out, we engage the pelvic floor and pull up through our body. So just get used to that. Now I'm doing my breath quite deep so you can see it. You don't have to take huge breaths, just breathe. On the floor, I want you to feel that your shoulder blades are almost tucked under, they're relaxing, but then the weight of your body sinks into the floor. So you're not arched through your back. This back of the ribcage should be on the floor. You should feel that the back of your hips is on the floor. You've got a little gap under your lower back here, but it's not stiff, it's not arched off the floor. It's just a natural little gap there, and then the rib cage is on the floor, the shoulder blades are, the chin is tucked in. So you exhale, lift up through your core. Now it's worth taking time getting used to this, because as you breathe out and lift up, if you're tension shoulders and other things, your core's not really doing the work. So you're connecting to very deep muscles, and we're using them in quite a gentle way. When you first do them, however, it might feel that it is quite strong, but you can learn how to control that so you're not going to do it quite as strong. It's just a nice gentle wave up through the body. Now as we breathe out, we're going to lift up through the core, and where you feel that little pull here, you're then actually going to pull your hips towards your ribs. So can you see my lower back gets pushed into the floor? And I'm going to release off. So your breath in would be here. Your breath out, the lifting of your pelvic floor and the pull all together. So you're breathing out as you move. Breathing in as you release back to your start position. Breathing out as you engage your pelvic floor and tilt. I want you to try and keep your bottom relaxed as you do this. Keep your chin tucked in. Keep your upper body relaxed. There's no squeezing here. You see, really keep that relaxed. And release. Breathing in. Breathing out. Engage your core. Pulling from this line across from hip to hip. Imagine that. You've drawn a line. That's where you're pulling from. Let's just see if we can do one more. And back to that start position, that neutral. Now we're going to try and keep our shoulder blades relaxed into the floor. We're going to keep our rib cage down. We're taking the arms up. What we're going to try and do is take the arm back without this happening. Also, we want to make sure we're not too hunched. Try and get those shoulder blades to sit down onto the floor. If your head's quite far forward and it's uncomfortable to put it back, if you can't tuck your chin in, please put something under your head. So to start with, let's place the left hand on the right side of the rib cage. Any lifting when you move, we want to stop, yeah? So when you breathe in, you might feel a little lift. When you breathe out, your rib cage will drop. You'll lift up through your core, and that should kind of pull your rib cage down into your body a bit. So that's normal. That's a breath in. That's a breath out. And that's my pelvic floor engaged. So don't try and pull your rib cage down. Just feel that pull up through your core again. So remember, we breathe in, we breathe out. Pelvic floor behind the belly button, behind the rib cage, almost lifting your heart up. So let's put the hand there. Breath in to prepare, shoulders sitting back into the floor. As you breathe out, lift your core. Feel your arm go away from your rib cage. Keep it really straight. You don't need to get to the floor. Hold on to it. With the last little bit of breath, pull it back. And you're pulling back from here. Have a go on the other side. Relax your back. Breath in. Now this is quite a long breath out with a little bit left to pull it back. But you could breathe in until gravity wants to take your arm, which is about there. And now breathe out. Engage your core. Last bit, pull it back. Don't worry if you feel that you need an extra breath in the middle. I actually think when you start Pilates, that is a good way to practice. Otherwise, it all feels a bit rushed. And you might think, oh, I've forgotten to breathe. And then it all goes wrong. So have a sort of set-up breath. Breathing in, breathing out, engaging. Last bit, pull back. Like a rest breath. Set up. Ready for the next one. Breathing in, breathing out. And pulling back. Good job. Okay, so take those arms down. What we're going to do now is focus on the lower body. I want you to keep this position, keep these hips still, even as we move. So hips are level. We don't want them to rock, we don't want them to tip, we don't want the upper body to tense. So all we're going to do is drop the leg out, and this is as you breathe in. As you breathe out, you're going to tighten your pelvic floor, draw up through your body, and at the same time, you're going to use your inner thigh here. You're going to squeeze that leg back, so you're pulling with your inner thigh. As you breathe out, as you engage your core. We'll do alternate legs. Squeeze back, lift your core. Make sure your upper body isn't tensing. Breathing out. So breathing in. Pause as you breathe out. Lift up through your core. Squeeze it back. Breathing in. As you breathe out, lift up through your core. Squeeze. One more each side. Lovely. Okay, now we're going to take the body, we're just going to roll onto the side. Supporting your head under your arm, or maybe putting something under your head. You've got your heels in line with your spine, and your spine is pointed down, so you're not tucked behind or tucked under, tailbone points towards your heels. We're supporting on the shoulder. You see I've got a hip above hip, knee above knee. Now to do this exercise, we want to have the weight of the top leg on the bottom leg. So it's where your heels are, the weight will rest. When we do this, it looks like this. Now I'm actually doing it wrong at the moment, so it's very difficult to look at it and tell you're doing it wrong. So I'm lifting my knee. This is actually about the muscles here. So I don't want you to lift your knee, I want you to think of turning your leg backwards. So you're using this muscle here, glute med. So you don't need to know which muscle it is other than you'll feel it in that area. Think of what you're doing. Imagine turning your leg backwards. Remember, the weight of the leg is resting. That top heel is going to rest on that bottom heel. As you breathe out, lift up through your core gently. Close your eyes maybe. This leg rotates back. If you can feel it here, you've got it. Doesn't matter how big the movement is. Relax down, breathe in. As you breathe out, lift up through your core from here. Imagine pulling that leg backwards. And relax down. Remember, you can take an extra breath or two, it doesn't matter. Now focus on whether your hips are moving. This should not be rolling backwards. Try and relax your leg as you do this, so the only thing you can feel is your bottom working. Relax that leg. So there's a lot to think about. If you're really having to concentrate on this, you've still got to breathe out and lift up through your pelvic floor at the same time. So you might be feeling now that that's actually really doing something. Fantastic. We're going to bring it in front. Keep your hips back. Just bring that leg in front and see if you can drop it down towards the floor a little bit. Try not to roll your hip forward. You should feel a nice stretch there. Okay, so we don't get confused, we're just going to go straight to the other side and see if we can do the same thing on this side. So same thing, on your side, tailbone towards your heels Heels in line with your spine. No tucking under or sticking that tailbone out. Hip above hip. Remember your top leg rests on the bottom, so don't lift your knee. We're not trying to take it anywhere. Basic level, we're just firing glute med. Relax your leg. As you breathe out, pull, twist that leg, twist it, get it here. If you're thinking, I can't feel that, or I can feel my leg working, tap the muscle sometimes helps. As you breathe out, lift up through your core. Think about what you're doing. Tap, tap, tap. If you need to, twist your leg backwards, don't lift. It might feel different one side to the other. And this is kind of what we're doing at Clinical Pilates. We're trying to work out those imbalances. We're trying to balance you a bit more, get the muscles to all work and do their job. So in other Pilates classes, we might find that we're doing other levels, we're bringing other things in. But that's once you've got the hang of using all of those muscles. So get that to work. Rotate. The more you can relax your leg itself, the more you will get these glute muscles to work. As you exhale, lift up through your core, rotate. Excellent. Keep your hip back, bring it in front. So a nice stretch, so just let the weight of that leg drop. If you can hold your hip there, you'll get a really nice stretch. Now we're going to turn over onto our backs. Now, if your back is quite tight, you could have one leg bent to do this. If you can get your legs straight without your back arching, that would be great. If your hips are tilting, we don't really want that, so it might be that you need to keep one leg bent or even both legs. So I'm going to show you the straight legs. If you've got one leg bent, do a couple like that, then change and do a couple with the other leg bent. What we're trying to do here is engage into your core and the movement muscles that are connected to it. So very much in the abs, as it comes up through your core, we can connect to rectus abdominis here, which we know is our six-pack muscle probably. We're not working to get a six-pack, we're just working to really get that muscle to fire properly with the core. Now most people when they do this see this as a sit-up and they're really concerned about where their head's going. But that's just going to work your neck. I want to work here. So when you lift up through your core, you're actually locking this bit together. So if you can think about it, your core starts at your pelvic floor, it goes up through the abdominals, which we're going to use. It almost pulls your ribcage down a bit. So that is rectus abdominis, that's your six-pack muscle. So it's almost firing a little bit just by engaging your core. So you tighten, pull up behind your belly button. Can you feel a little bit of tension there? See if you can pull up behind your ribcage. You might feel that tiny pull there. And then lifting your heart is the hardest bit to feel. And tucking your chin in. So you might get a bit of tension in the front of your neck. That is okay as long as it's balanced with the rest of the tension. So we're going to breathe in. As we breathe out, we're going to do that firing and locking through the core. Pull up really long. As you do this, try and pull your ribcage down towards your hips. Can you see that I have slightly lifted off the floor? Can you see I'm still lined up? Look, my chin isn't out, is it? And come back down. Now, of the exercises, this is probably one of the hardest for people to get. So when they're starting, we get a lot of this, we get a lot of this, we get a lot of people going, I can engage, but I actually can't go anywhere. Okay, if you can engage but you can't go anywhere, you're on the right track. Don't cheat, don't push your head forward. If you're struggling with your legs straight and one leg bent, relax your leg. Take a breath in as you breathe out, engage your core. The core is absolutely essential in this exercise. Now try and just pull enough that you can take the weight of your upper body off the floor and come back down. ribcage down. Can you see how the front of the ribcage is pulling down a bit? So take a breath in. As you breathe out, engage your core. Hold that tension under the ribcage. Pull. Keep pulling up through the body. Otherwise, your poor neck will just take over. Maybe if you're struggling, try it with both legs bent. So keep changing positions to see if that helps you. Sometimes one position can just make it a little bit more difficult for you with your posture. And you might think, I can do it now, what happened there? It's just where the tensions are in your body. So if we're level here, we breathe in. Can you see my hips don't move? It's all up here, isn't it? So there's no movement. And that's quite important on this. If you're doing this and pushing your lower back into the floor, we need to correct that. So we need to get those hips level. Lengthening and relaxing. Okay, when you finish, just roll your head side to side. The most common thing here is that people overuse the neck and hurt their neck. They're trying to push their head forward. So just release off. And that is going to bring me to our last exercise. We're actually going to do it against the wall, but I'm going to show you from the side first so you can see what I'm talking about, because it's hard to see on the wall. So you want to be straight, lined up against the wall. So the wall is going to touch your back here and here. That has to happen. If you can get your shoulder blades on the wall, that's fantastic. But if you can only get your shoulder blades on the wall by moving your ribcage away, that won't work. So back of the hips, back of the ribcage on the wall, shoulder blades back. Don't worry about your head. If you're don't try and touch the wall. Keep your chin in. And this is what's important. Keep your chin in. Sit heavy into your sitting bones. Pull your chin in. And try and bring the crown of your head over. Can you see my chin's in? And stay against the wall. That's all you're doing. Look at that chin, it's still in. When you come up, do not move your chin. So a lot of people come up by doing that. I want you to keep your chin in, keep pulled over here, and right down at the bottom, try and move backwards towards the wall. Keep against the wall. And you see the difference, how that's lengthening through the neck. So we're going to sit against the wall. Back of my hips are touching, the back of my ribs are touching. I'm trying to tuck the shoulder blades in, but making sure this is there against the wall. I'm really heavy in my hips. Now pull your chin in. Keep against the wall, sit heavy. Try and bring the back of the skull over, so that sort of ridge coming over as your chin goes in. Stay against the wall. So if you're arching away, come back up, have another go. As you breathe out, so try and lift your pelvic floor a little bit now. Lift up through the body, tuck that chin in, bring in the crown over. If you need to, maybe push down into your hips to remind you. Keep your ribcage back and push backwards towards the wall. Chin in, bring the crown of the head over, back of the skull over. Breathe, push into your sitting bones, push your ribcage into the wall, push backwards to uncurl. Let's do one more. Lovely. And just give your head a little twist. So So practice the good technique, practice engaging your core and relaxing the rest of your body. So these are just some basics to help you focus in on some muscles and your technique. Have fun.